Hello, everyone. Iain MacMillan here, and joining me today, former NFL wide receiver, Super Bowl champion Victor Cruz, who's partnered with Finish to help football fans be the ultimate game day host. Before we get into that, Victor, I want to talk to you about your former team, the New York Giants. You actually do a show with the Giants, which has started a couple of months ago, the Players Lounge. I encourage people to check that out. But on that show, you talk to different players who are playing on the team now, and I need to get a vibe check from these players, because obviously the past couple seasons have not really gone the Giants' way. It seems like everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Is there any sense of optimism in that locker room right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think the guys understand, especially the leadership. Right, I've had conversation with Kayvon Thibodeau and some of the leadership of that football team in that locker room, and they're optimistic. I think they understand that. Look, they've had some down years. They had some games that they're not proud of, obviously individually and as a team. But they know that the foundation of the leadership of that team is strong, and as long as they continue to lean on that and get better in every position and obviously draft well and bring in players of high character that are good players that also match what they're trying to do and understand where the Giants are trying to go. I think they understand that they can only go up from here, and that they can only continue to put their best foot forward. Obviously, fighting tons of injuries throughout the season, but they understand that the best is hopefully yet to come, and they're excited about what the future may hold.
I know one thing that fans especially can be optimistic about is Malik Nabers. Talk to me about what you see in his game and what impressed you the most about his rookie season.
I think he's incredible. Obviously, through this wonderful, partnership with Finish Ultimate, I got to really chop it up with him and work with him and do things with him outside of the game and outside of the football field. And first of all, he's just a great kid. I think he understands the kind of where he's been drafted into and what that comes with, and he understands that there's a lot on his shoulders. And I think he's handled that tremendously this year, not only on the field, but off of it as well. So I think I just love his game. I love the way he catches the football. I love his explosiveness. I think he's an absolute superstar at the position. And we need to make sure that we cultivate that, especially early on in his career, and really maximize what that can be, and hopefully be in position to make playoff runs and deep playoff runs in the future. And I think that's what that type of talent that he has. He's earned the right to be in contention and be on a team that is in contention every year. So hopefully the Giants can provide that in the years to come.
Now, obviously, he's getting a lot of credit, a lot of attention, deservedly so. But I actually think one of the most underrated rookies in the NFL this year is a guy who you actually had on the Players Lounge in Tyrone, Tracy Jr. Talk to me about his game, because like I said, an extremely impressive rookie season for a running back. And at that position, it's really hard to produce if the rest of the offense isn't clicking game in and game out. But he managed to do that despite that being the case. So talk to me about him, because I know you got the chance to sit down with him on the Players Lounge.
Yeah, he's just another great kid too, man. He's really appreciative of his opportunity and really understanding that he made the best of it and wants to continue to put his best foot forward and wants to continue to prove not only to the organization but to the entire league that he belongs and that he's here to stay. And I was really impressed with our conversation. He's excited to be here. He's excited to be a Giant and wear, that blue uniform at home and things like that. So just his ability too, his vision is incredible. His explosiveness through the holes is incredible. And I think running behind an offensive line that was, much maligned throughout the course of the season, obviously facing some injuries early on, and for him to still have 1,000-yard rushing season and play well and have those games where he took over and really put his best foot forward, I think I'm excited about what he has to offer us moving forward in such a young career, obviously, again, thus far.
One thing I want to talk to you about with the Giants here, which was relevant this season. I don't know if you noticed this, but I certainly noticed it as a fan and, talking to other fans, is the idea of tanking. And it seems to become more popular every year where like once a team is eliminated from the playoffs or it looks like they're not going to make it, some fans, not all, some fans start actively rooting for the team they cheer for to start losing games so they can get a better draft position. And I know some Giants fans that were upset that they beat the Colts in week 17, which is kind of crazy to me. So what are your kind of overall thoughts about, the idea of tanking? Because like I said, I'm seeing it more and more every year.
Yeah, I think it's stupid. I think it's silly, the idea of it. Of course, now if ownership or teams or, If John Mara was like, hey, look, we want to tank this year, just take everybody off the field. Take off the start off, play whoever you want to play. Put yourself in the least advantageous position to go out there and win games. But if you're going to prepare all week long as a competitor, you're going to go out there and play. You're going to put your best foot forward because every time you're out there, it's an audition. I know you might be drafted, first pick, first round, whatever it is, but every time you step on that football field, you're continuing to prove that you're worth something. Especially in years like this for the Giants, every time you're out there, it's an audition for next year. It's an audition to hang around and continue to be on this football team and put your best foot forward for next year because, I've been a part of seasons that didn't go our way and seasons that we didn't make the playoffs. And every year they're looking to make that team better and they're analyzing that entire roster and making decisions. And when they stop at your name and they're making a decision, you want them to have a positive taste in their mouth because of what you put forward throughout the course of the year, not just in wins, but how you are in losses, which I feel like is exemplary of your character more than when you win games.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said it because I've heard people say that they're not going to pick the Giants or any other team that's sort of the playoffs to win because the players aren't going to try because they want to get a better draft pick. You said it. These players, they're competitors. They're auditioning for a job week in and week out. They're going to put whatever players are on the field are going to put their best foot forward.
I was also shocked. We put up 38 points. Where was this team at all year?
Right.
We could have been doing this all year long. That's what I was upset about. We put up 30 plus points for the first time all season long, and then. Where did this team even come from? That was my setback, but I get it. I think, we were due to have one of those games where everything clicks and everybody's doing the right thing. I think fans were just upset it happened in week 17 when there were other things on the line potentially for next year, of course.
And it has to be good. It has to be good for the vibes and the morale in the locker room to have that big of a win late in the season. So you can go into the offseason and know that, hey, when everything's clicking with this unit, we can put up that many points in a game and we can beat teams like the Colts. That has to be good heading into the offseason.
Yeah, 100%. I think just the believability as a team to understand, look, we can score points when this offense is clicking. I know Daboll had to feel good about it, calling plays, and things were working, and the execution was at a high level. It just gave everyone the confidence, at least for that game, and understanding, especially throughout the course of an entire season, but for that game specifically, that these plays work. We can go out there and perform against a talented team like the Colts and a team that was on the cusp of getting a wild card spot and making a playoff push in the Colts. We can do things positively against them and we can take that confidence and carry it over to next year, hopefully.
Now, you were part of the TNT crew this year covering Mountain West football. Just give me your thoughts about Boise State and that quarterfinal game against Penn State and kind of your overall thoughts about their season.
Man, I think Boise State had a tremendous year. I think it started with obviously the Oregon game where it really got everybody aware of who they are and put Ashton Genty on the map. And he continued to have, a Heisman type of career, Heisman type of season. And I just think they got to a position where, Penn State is a bigger team, a stronger team, a team that plays in arguably a difficult conference. So I think that's kind of what, Boise State just ran into one of those teams that they couldn't. It's all about matchups when it gets to that point. And when you look at Tyler Warren and you look at Drew Aller and you look at that offense, they were just clicking, man. And they got talent all across the board. The offensive line is stacked, defensive, and they don't give the ball away. So Boise State, they just ran up against a team that was just bigger, stronger, and a little bit more physical than they were. But shout out to Boise, who had a tremendous season, and to even put themselves in position to play a team like Penn State in the college football playoff was a remarkable feat.
Is there a team in the Mountain West outside of Boise State who you think fans should look out for to have a big year next season?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think teams like, who do I like? I mean, I love Fresno. I think Sacramento State is another team that can do some really good things. I think when you look at the across all teams, I think UNLV is another team that really was really doing some real big things throughout the course of the year. I think all these teams are going to get better. And as things like the portal open up and they start to get these transfers and teams start to and these athletes start to go over to these different teams across the Mountain West, I think they have a chance to get better and better and better. So we'll see what happens next year. But I think we're always going to see these Mountain West teams because of the type of talent that they have, because of where they are, because of these the kids that enter the portal and go to teams like this. We're always going to see a UNLV, a Boise State always be in contention that college football playoff because they get really talented guys over there.
Now, before we get into your partnership with Finish, I do have to ask you, playoffs about to start here in the NFL. I need your Super Bowl prediction. Who's going to play who and who wins?
Oh, man, I'm going with, it's as good of a year as Detroit had, and obviously that's the NFC side. I mean, I can't take Kansas City out of it. I got to keep Kansas City, and I think they're going to play the Lions. I think it's Kansas City against the Lions in the Super Bowl, and I think Kansas City goes 3 in a row. I think they actually do it. They complete it. They just find ways to win. And when you have teams like that figure out how to win the close one and figure out how to win the games that on paper they might not be picked to win, I think that's a pretty big deal. So I got Patrick Mahomes going for the three-peat and cementing his legacy even more. Is
there any anti-Eagles bias that's going to prevent you from picking the Eagles to come out of the NFC at all?
Eagles to win anything ever. It's just not in my DNA. I love Saquon to death. I hope he has 150 more yards in every game that he plays in the playoffs. I hope he makes it to the Super Bowl. But there's something in my red, white, and blue Giants blood won't let me pick the Eagles to win anything.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, tell me about your partnership with Finish Ultimate and how fans can win $10,000 for their future game day hosting needs.
Yeah, I've partnered with Finish Ultimate. It's been tremendous. I think, as I've transitioned over to retirement, I've been hosting a lot of parties and hosting different events at the crib, and no one gets those tough stains out like Finish Ultimate. I mean, they just understand it. They get it. They're the best in their field, and it's nothing that I wouldn't do than to get those tough stains out with Finish Ultimate. So sign up for the sweepstakes to win that $10,000 prize that you talked about. And yeah, man, Finish Ultimate is just one brand that I can't live without when you're hosting these football games and guys are getting mac and cheese everywhere and buffalo wing sauce everywhere. It gets all of those tough stains out. So Finish Ultimate is always the way to go.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Victor. I appreciate your time and best of luck to your New York Football Giants next season as well.
No problem at all. Thank you.